Hello everybody, welcome back to Tanner's Books and Beyond and day 9 of VEDUS. I'm running out of fingers. Let's get right into it. Today's certain point of view story is by Cabot and it is Beru Whitesun Lars, which is about Luke's aunt, Beru Whitesun Lars. And unfortunately, I feel it's the weakest one so far, which sucks because I was really looking forward to it. Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen are those characters that you don't get a lot of backstory on them, and they really deserve to have some look into their lives, but what it was like raising Luke and knowing what his destiny might turn out to be and all the trials and tribulations and the potential of other people looking for him, of having to deal with Obi-Wan if he tried to check in on Luke or ask them to like, hey, maybe it's time for him to start his training to be a Jedi at some point. I think part of it might be because of how it's framed. It's all done in the first person and it's also done after Aunt Beru has died, so it's this weird self-eulogy thing that she gives herself. Plus the fact that she does it so casually, just talking about the events of her life, that so much of the potential characterization and emotion that we could get from a story like this, it falls away. There are several interesting ideas in this story about like what Aunt Beru hoped for Luke and what she was afraid of, and those times when she thought maybe if he went to the academy then they wouldn't be hunted down, maybe they wouldn't have gone in the line of fire, but none of them are expanded upon. But there's one little detail, it's like the most tiny inconsequential thing that Aunt Beru keeps on bringing up in this thing, is that one time she took a cooking class in Mos Eisley and the teacher said that she made the best blue milk cheese, and then every other paragraph she's just bringing up the blue milk cheese and damn, one day I could have made the best blue milk cheese. Luke loved my blue milk cheese. I could have opened a cafe and served only blue milk cheese. Blue milk cheese, blue milk cheese, blue milk cheese. Ugh, it was exhausting. It wasn't awful. Like, I don't want to call any of these stories bad, because nothing has been bad so far. Some things have been underwhelming, some things have been weaker than others, but this story was frustrating because it seemed like a lot of missed potential that happened. The only upside I can think of is that so few things were actually genuinely talked about that it leaves a lot of space open for someone else to come in and write another story about Aunt Beru. But in the end, I feel like this is the kind of story that helped me learn and appreciate the character more, and it failed at that completely, and it's a bummer, man! Anyways, let's just move on to something a bit more positive. The Clone Army Attacketh. I'm feeling a lot better about it now. I was able to read all the way to the end of Act 2, so that takes us in movie terms to the end of Obi-Wan's visit to Kamino and the cloning facility. I think one of the reasons I've managed to start liking it more is because, okay, in the movie, the longer Anakin is around Padme, the more flowery his dialogue gets, and that's not necessarily better in the movie, but it really helps here because Dosher can take that dialogue and tweak it and expand upon it and Shakespeareify it, essentially, and it can become these really good monologues that are really nice, but also have this undercurrent of the aforementioned obsession and this growing darkness that Anakin has always had ever since he was separated from his mother. And that's another thing, he brings up his mom a lot, and other people do it too, and yes, that was a huge thing in the movies, but like here you feel it more, and you notice it more, you notice how terrified Anakin is for her sake. You really start to see how Anakin is kind of this amalgamation of the worst traits of Shakespeare's heroes, because he's got the youthful inexperience and impulsiveness of Hal, he's easily manipulated the way Othello was, he's whiny like, God, there are so many whiny Shakespeare heroes. And on the flip side of that coin, we've got Palpatine, who's like this terrifying combination of Iago and Falstad, because like Falstad, he takes a mentorship role over Anakin, and he holds way more influence over him than Obi-Wan does. But instead of trying to get him to like give up his duties and extol himself in debauchery, he's planting all of the seeds that would cause him to become Sith. He is manipulating him the way that Iago manipulated Othello, turning all of his emotions against himself and working them towards Palpatine's own agenda. That being said, on the less highbrow side of things, remember when Obi-Wan visited his friend who had all those arms? Well, he shows up in here and every single one of his line has an arm pun, so that's great. And that concludes today's update, but if you'd like to see my other VEDUS videos as well as other bookish videos in general, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can also check out my Instagram for other daily updates or my Goodreads to see how I'm progressing through my books. And until tomorrow, I'll see you all later.